You gonna get woke today.
Get woke today. See, Gaga, she's already been woke. Because she follows a lot of woke people on Instagram.
Ain't none of my people sleep.
None of them sleep.
Okay? If they fell asleep, the world would fall apart. That's how many people I know that ain't sleep.
Yeah, we was watching the Who Killed Malcolm X, and it basically walks you through the assassination of Malcolm X.
Yeah. Okay, how many of y'all seen the Netflix episode Who Killed Malcolm X?
Salty.
Is it?
I mean, it's salted butter. You know, butter's healthier for you than margarine.
Yeah, I found that out when we started doing keto a while back. Look at y'all, look at my cream.
It's good with salty.
Ooh, that is. Oh, Jesus.
I can't eat that.
What about this?
That's good. I love that.
Is it spicy?
Nope, it's not spicy at all. It's kind of sweet.
Oh, really?
And it's aroma sauce.
I'm eating my hair. So, yeah.
So we suggest that you go see. Now, for those who are watching this that are part of the nation, we are not talking negatively about the nation.
Nope.
We're just really
care about the nation right now.
We're just really discussing.
Oh, that's good.
I told you.
Oh!
We're really just discussing this documentary. Now, I didn't know how instrumental, who was into the death of
Malcolm X.
Until you told me.
But you heard about all of the how many conspiracies have you heard now that you've seen this now that you've seen that even remotely matches the show?
The only one I've heard was that it was through the federal government. I did not know it was an internal job. I'm gonna tell you why. I'm gonna tell you what the movie did. If you remember one of the scenes in the movie, maybe we could play it as when we're putting it up. One of the scenes in the movie, right before he was doing the, maybe we can play the scene, but there was one scene where they kept calling the house.
Oh, yeah.
Betty
Shabazz.
Yeah, Betty Shabazz answered the phone. She's like, hello. And all they showed was something recorded.
Right.
Which made you believe that it was an FBI job, not really an internal. Because
but the FBI wouldn't just call and not say nothing. They were showing you
that they were listening.
They were being surveilled. Yes.
Correct.
Because they said they have been surveilling Malcolm since he went in jail.
Since he was in jail.
And when he came out, they started 24-hour surveillance. Can you imagine how much money they spent? They've been surveilling him. He was under the nation for 20 years.
The question
he was in prison. Which one was it?
He was in prison for 10 years.
Okay.
So he probably spent 10 of those years in the nation. But check this out. If I remember them saying that they were surveilling him since he went in jail.
Right.
My question is, how powerful was this man that he needed to be on surveillance before he went into jail?
Well,
and then how powerful was, who knew who he was to get him to come to the nation?
Well, the thing about it is, he was such a high-profile criminal. Okay. He had committed so many crimes in his young days. And remember, a school teacher was saying he was saying he wanted to be a lawyer.
I remember.
And his school teacher told him, "You can't. You know, ain't no black man can't be no lawyer. Ain't nobody gonna hire you.
You good with your hands?
Yeah, you good with your hands. Why don't you go to school to be a carpenter?" With this slave talk, for why don't you stay a nigger? Right. Basically, that's what they're saying. Why don't you stay in your place? Because the legal field is not for black people. Right. We want you all to continue to be indentured servants. Yeah. And like George, I think it was what was I was gonna say George Washington, but I don't want to say George Washington. This was that is salty, James.
That's butter, right? It's regular salty sweet cream butter.
Jesus. I'm trying to think of who was the NAACP guy that went to jail and wrote a letter from jail trying to get black people. He started at Hampton University, and he was trying to get black people to go to college, but he was trying to tell them that when they go, that they need to stick to the more servant jobs. And he was a black leader. And
so go to college, but go to college to be an engineer. Go to college to be a.
That's what Hampton University was set up for in Virginia. It was one of the first HBCTs or HBCUs. HBCUs. HBCTs. I was about to go all the way through the alphabet and all the way at the Z. Yeah. So, but yeah, Malcolm was. I think Malcolm started doing. I think in prison he became a threat.
Why?
Well, because when he went to prison, the guy that recruited him was already in the Nation of Islam.
Yes. And
I think, I'm not sure if they...
also one of the ones who turned their back on him. If you watch the movie.
Right. So, he, I think the guy that was in prison had an inroad to Malcolm Elijah while they were in prison.
Okay.
Because as soon as he got out of prison, he was immediately with Malcolm. With Elijah. Yes. Remember they said as soon as he got out of prison,
he set up the meeting for,
Yeah. So I think that Malcolm had proved himself in prison. And apparently whoever recruited him in prison must have been a part of the FBI surveillance list as well.
Oh.
And I don't know if because he was talking to the nation that they said, okay, because they said Elijah Muhammad been under surveillance for years.
Maybe that's why, because Elijah was sending correspondence back and forth.
Yes. And so I think that's what happened. I think Malcolm got himself in trouble because of Elijah. Just his association with Elijah. Forget all of the other stuff that came out of his mouth, but just his association with Elijah Muhammad.
You know, I was watching the documentary, and I don't want to give no organization names, but it kind of reminded me of that one organization that Grandma, y'all told y'all, don't y'all ever go in that church?
What? She told us that?
Mm-hmm.
Is that Daddy Grace? Y'all don't go to Daddy Grace Church.
Don't stay here.
Y'all know about Daddy Grace. He had no grace.
But that remind me of how they honored the Elijah Muhammad. See, I didn't know because everything was the Honorable Elijah Muhammad told us to live holy. The Elijah Muhammad told us to.
But what was funny, and listen, y'all, I am speaking as a general population observer.
Yes.
And so I am not a steward, nor do I study, nor do I inquire about the Nation of Islam or any of that group of people.
We do not pretend to be experts.
And I don't, I'm not a follower of Elijah Muhammad or Malcolm X or any other black leader. Or a white leader for that fact. No leader actually, except myself. But anyway, and so I'm speaking from a curiosity perspective.
Very curious.
That watching this video, I was born in the 60s. I was born in 1960. So I was born in the heart of Dr. King, Malcolm X, John F. Kennedy, J. Edgar Hoover, when all of this stuff was going on.
And by the time you came to an age of being knowledgeable, it was still fresh.
No, actually,
was it?
No, listen, my nephew asked me this before he got over here today. You know, do I remember anything or whatever about that time? And let me share with y'all during that time, I was very sheltered because my family are Christian. And so we, with a Christian mother, Christian father, church leaders, we didn't have time to go out here and be activating nothing and getting out no riots, and we was in church 24 hours a day on our knees trying to get to heaven. So we didn't care about Malcolm. We thought all that stuff was occultic, and if we messed with it, we was going to hell.
Oh, okay.
We thought the Muslims were cultic because they didn't think Jesus was the Son of God. They thought he was just some little prophet. So we were very sheltered. We didn't get all this stuff. No, this was, listen, believe it or not, everybody that was born during that time was not a part of the time. So we didn't have that relationship with that. The first time I really experienced anything dealing with slavery, racism, or Dr. King was when I was in junior high school.
Way after the fact.
Way after all this stuff was down. When Kennedy got shot, I don't remember that. I remember vaguely some solemnness in my household, the nation mourning. When Dr. King got shot, I remember some things because I didn't grow up with my dad. And so my dad was a part of all of that stuff, but we were not because we weren't with him. So it was very vague for me. So, and even though I grew up in that time, I don't have memories of that. The only time I remember being even called a nigger, I was in North Carolina, and I think I might have been like 5 or 6 years old, maybe a little older.
Really?
Because me and Andy was messing with these white kids. I had a white boyfriend. He had a white girlfriend. This was in the early 60s.
Are you serious?
And we would go over their house, and every day I had to pass this white lady's house. And she would be sitting on her porch dipping snuff. And she would spit it, and I'd run past her house. She said, "Come here, you little nigger." And I turned around. I was like, "I ain't no nigger, you little cracker." And I took off running. So I didn't have that kind of fear instilled in me at that age or during that time. Like my parents would have probably not said anything back to her. But the 60s was, remember, that was the freedom. While all that was going on, you had a lot of people out here fighting against the war.
So the white parents let y'all come over?
Yes, they were ghetto. You know, when you know back in those days that if you were white and you didn't have a lot of money, you was with us.
People, yeah.
You felt like you was better than us, but at the same time, you was a part of us.
You were part of the hood.
So that's why, and also you got to remember during the suffrage, when I forgot whose wife that was, Roosevelt's wife, was it?
Okay.
Was helping to get the give women the right to vote.
Yes, that's Roosevelt.
Yeah, but during all of that time, that was during the time where
Eleanor Roosevelt.
Yeah, that was during the time where, you know, we was going through the Jim Crow and the Black Law Bible. And remember the movie? They just did a movie where you had the Black Road Map. Where you had to have, if you had this road map, you knew where to drive through as a black person and where not to go through. It was called the Black Almanac.
Okay, because almost like the Green Book.
It was the Green Book. Remember the movie? Yes, that movie basically
is based off of something like that.
Yes, but I have no recollection of being scared to drive around nowhere because we went everywhere where we wanted to go. I don't remember no white fountains, no anybody telling me I couldn't, because we didn't go to the movies.
So you don't really remember that?
I have no recollection.
And did y'all live in the South?
And let's see, I was born in Newark, New Jersey.
Okay, this is the story I need to hear.
In 1960, I was born in Newark, New Jersey.
I need to know the transition of towns because who lived in D.C.? Where were y'all raised? Was it North Carolina? Was it D.C.? Was it
all of them?
Okay.
Remember, all of the older siblings were born in Brooklyn, Coney Island, and New York.
So y'all didn't grow up in North Carolina?
No, we did not. North Carolina was later.
Oh, okay.
So all of the older siblings were born in Brooklyn, Coney Island. Me, Julia, and Andy was born in Newark, New Jersey. Okay. And then we came to D.C. where your mom was born. Okay. And then after she was born, apparently we went back to North Carolina.
Which is where the other family came.
Well, they was before us, remember.
I thought there was one younger than mom.
No. That I'm talking about no. Mm-mm. But we and I guess we moved to North Carolina because we was in North Carolina for a good little while. I don't know, about 6 or 7 when we was in North Carolina, because when we finally moved here, we moved here about 72. Okay. So I had to be like 12. We moved here to DC. And I've been in this area ever since.
Oh, so y'all literally moved here in 72 and went to the Lighthouse in 73.
Yes, exactly.
Wow.
Because we used to live in DC on Longfellow.
I remember.
Right off of Georgia Avenue. Okay. And we was attending Open Door.
Open Door.
And that's where we were. And then we left there, went to...
Which is how I got here.
Right.
That's
and then,
story.
Yeah, so... Shame on you, Isabel. No, I'm just kidding. So we transitioned, as far as I'm concerned, because I think Malcolm X was killed in 65. I think it was 65. February 12th or 21st, 1965, he was killed.
Hey Siri, when was Malcolm X killed?
You lying, you just don't want to tell us.
When was Malcolm X murdered? You're right. 1965.
And it was February the 21st or 22nd?
21st.
So, 1965, I was 5 years old. Okay. So, when all of the war and fighting was going on, that's when Uncle Andy was being born.
Okay.
That was like 62,
right.
63.
My mom was born in 64.
Because he died in 65, and they said a year he had left the nation in 63. Because from 63 to 65, they said it took them a year.
So at this time when he died, y'all were in DC. Because mom was born in DC.
Yeah, because she was born in 64.
Right, so y'all.
So we had to leave. Andy was born in 62.
Right.
So we had to leave between 62 and 63.
To DC.
Yes, to come to DC. Yeah.
So do you remember any I know you remember the.
And I don't know if we moved because of all of that. Because we were right. Think about it. New Jersey is where all this was happening. Newark. That's where we were born.
Oh.
You see what I'm saying?
I see.
But for some reason we got out of there. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know if mom was actually pregnant when Isabel when we left. And then when we got here she had the baby. You know what I'm saying?
I didn't know Newark was like the Mecca of
Islam for the United States.
Yeah, you know Philadelphia has a lot of them.
But I thought Illinois was like the headquarters for it.
I don't know.
That's what they were saying in the movie. Illinois was and then Chicago was Malcolm tried to build stuff in Chicago. They had all these mosques because remember they were saying they thought in the documentary they thought the killer came from Illinois or Chicago, one of them, or Atlanta, one of them, I don't know. But that documentary,
it's crazy, ain't it?
Let me tell y'all, my godson told me this morning because I was like, he was like, Gaga, have you seen the Malcolm X, Who Killed Malcolm X series on Netflix? I was like, no. And I was like,
you gotta watch it.
We're gonna have to talk about that.
Yes.
And I watched. It was. I don't know how many episodes it was.
There's 9 episodes. You're right.
Yeah, I watched all 9 episodes from what?
It was like 8 o'clock.
Yeah, around that time. And I watched all those episodes before my godson got here. Did a mukbang with my sister. Then set out, and then we doing our mukbang.
Cause this and to think let me just say it this way. What you grew up thinking all your life about the whole situation isn't what you knew. I don't know.
In other words, the world as I knew it is not the world that it really was.
Listen.
You can tell
today, if the Matrix was now, I was reborn.
Right. Okay, I'll explain that a little more.
So you know how, you remember the Matrix?
Yeah, I do.
And so the Matrix basically, what happened is, androids created a world where you're plugged in, and you think real life is life, but it's not.
Gotcha.
You're in a simulated program.
Right.
Until you're reborn out of the matrix.
Right, exactly. Yeah.
So basically, everything that I was taught was what they wanted me to.
You were programmed to.
I was programmed to.
And let me bring that home a little bit, because some of y'all keep thinking, oh, when you program, you know, you got to go through some contrail or ultra mind mingling thing, but we are all programmed in our own environments every day, sociologically.
Every day.
And some environments that we're brought up in, some people's, their environment is created for them because the government want a certain type of people. Think about all of your presidents and how they all came up. Mm-hmm. You would think for some, and they're all some kin to each other based on DNA. And so you would think that from a child let's take Barack Obama. You would think from a child that he was groomed to be the president of the United States.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? But then when you look at how other black people were treated, you would think like, okay, he grew up in a world we didn't grow up in.
Absolutely.
So it seemed like, you know, that camera went off. I ain't worried about it, right?
Did it go off or did it just idle?
I had it on
they only do 30 minutes each, right?
I had it on record.
Oh yeah, because this one's about to go out in about
Got 2 cameras on y'all. 6 minutes?
8 minutes.
Oh, we're gonna use that in the shoot. So when you say the matrix, yes, we're all in a matrix.
Right.
In our own particular environment, we're all in our own particular matrix, being trained sociologically and environmentally based on the environment we're growing up in. That's how we're being programmed to deal with the world.
And don't think when you're deprogrammed that you're deprogrammed from everything. Even with computer software, when you take sometimes you'll do a whole overhaul of your system where you just kill the whole machine and then reboot it. But we're humans. We can't kill ourselves and then reboot ourselves. So you have to...
What about when people go in comas?
Yeah.
When they have brain damage?
Yeah,
Don't you think they're like rebooted or got...
What happened to this one?
I really don't.
There you go. There you go.
Yeah, so
I was saying, so when you reboot, when you add what they say now, when you awaken or
after coma,
when you are deprogrammed, there's certain things when you want to change your computer system, you have to remove program by program.
Right.
Take this program out, take this program out, take this program out. So there's certain things where you deprogram. It doesn't happen everything isn't overnight.
And you don't really get rid of the core program either.
No. It's in the background.
Because most people, when they think that they're cleaning off their computer, they're really just adding new software. But they're not really messing with the root of the system.
No, because it's still laying there in the background.
Right. Yeah, it's right. What do you call that? That part of the computer. I forgot what it's called.
What, the CPU, the motherboard?
No. It's the deep root part of the computer, the BIOS.
Oh yes, in the BIOS.
Yeah, now when you start getting into the BIOS,
because a lot of people don't know.
BIOS was biology, right?
A lot of people don't know when you delete your computer or delete apps off your computer. The stuff is still in the BIOS. You literally have to go into the BIOS to take it out, which is why when you reboot your computer, you have
a boot
program. Not only that, you shut your computer down, you restart it, but all of a sudden, magically, the operating system is still there, the clock is still working, the network is still, you're able to connect the network or be able to set up the network because all of those programs are within the.
And the operating system doesn't even have to be on there.
It doesn't. Because
when it boots in DOS, that's where all the program is going on. That even allows the computer to be able to accept a new software system or a program or operating system on a computer.
We say all that to say this.
Yeah, because
take your time. It's a process. There's things that Gaga watches online. A lot of these speakers. It's one speaker you was telling me about. The light skinned guy. What's his name?
Oh, General Sarah Sadie. I just like saying
every
his
time
name.
he says it, I laugh.
It blows up. General Sarah Sadie. He's a part of the BCP, the Black Power Cartel.
But she tells me to watch him. I haven't watched him yet, but in that aspect, I'm not woke because I haven't listened to it. I don't understand it. I just don't get the fascination with how his. I don't know what he stands for. I don't know what he stands about because I don't want to prejudge.
Exactly. Sometimes the messenger, the way the messenger brings the message, often can cause people to run away from the message. And so, take for instance, how a good example is how Malcolm X started out. His message, he started out fighting for the nation and for the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. And it wasn't about black people.
Right.
It was about the nation.
Right.
And and so then all of a sudden when he really started getting caught up, because there was jealousy involved in the system, there was conspiracies. According to the documentary, the children that he had did not have the proper relationship with their father. They thought Malcolm was closer to their father than he was, than they were. And that, as their father got older, they became even more concerned that he was going to turn the nation over to Malcolm. And so it was a whole bunch of mess around that. But then once Malcolm and Elijah start, quote, beefing, Malcolm's message changed.
Yes.
You see what I'm saying? His message changed. He went around the world. He tried to build a coalition of unity, not between all of the black nations of the world. Most people say, oh, he left and went to Mecca and when he came back, all of a sudden he wanted to include whites and, into the nation and all of this stuff. But he made it very clear when he came back, he said, listen, when I came back, my idea was to bring a national coalition of people of our color to build our nation. And so his message started to soften. At first it was like, okay, this group accepted Malcolm because of the way he presented his message. Then once he had a beef with them, he started changing his tone of his message. And then he's had a war right there when he knew he was no longer going to be accepted in the nation. And he went nuts because that last year of his life, they said he literally snapped. You saw how angry he got. He really went after white people real hard. Really? He went at the last few episodes, he went after white people so hard. Then he started going after Dr. King. And at one point at the end of his life, he started to join Dr. King because you saw them in certain things together. And so he was the same messenger, but he was only accepted by people that listened to the message the way he gave it. Now the question though is, did he only change his message because he wasn't accepted where he was? I think he did. I really do. Think about how we are in, we as people. If the group of people don't like us anymore, all of a sudden we go to the group of people who accept us, so then we change our message. Exactly. Or we try to conform to the group that we want to accept us. Right. And he did that for a long time. So my question is, did he really believe what he believed at the latter end, and he was brainwashed in the beginning? I think Malcolm believed everything he said from start to finish. Okay. And the reason I say that is because his passion is where his passion is. And based on where he is, he's compassionate in that area. Okay. In other words, he know what he know until he don't know. You see where I'm going? Yeah. So I think he was sincere in his message at each stage where he was, but I think the more he experienced, he started tailoring his message and his belief to conform more to who he was at that time.
Okay.
So when he came out of prison, I think he was genuine in what he was sharing because that's what saved him. But as he got older, he started really seeing the messenger that he was listening to in prison. And he got sidetracked from the message and was looking at the messenger. But a lot of them did. So I think Malcolm got caught up. I think if Malcolm could have stayed in the nation and just dealt with the message and not get caught up in Elijah and what he was doing, I think he would have been a good asset to the nation. But
they wasn't going to let him do that.
I was going to raise that. Exactly. His voice became too strong.
Too strong. And apparently Elijah wasn't a great orator. He used Malcolm as the mouthpiece because he saw that Malcolm can draw.
They said so many people came to the nation because of Malcolm and they made so much money.
They had grocery stores.
Yes. Apartment
buildings.
They owned basically all of Newark. Basically the nation. And to think that his killer was still in the city.
You just gave it away.
That's all I'm trying to tell them that. But they probably don't watch it.
They probably don't watch it, yeah.
I hope I'm talking to people that watched it. But it took me off to think that his killer had been living in the state of Newark, New Jersey the entire time.
And you have seen him on commercials.
You've seen him in Cory Booker's commercial. Exactly. Wait a minute, hold up. Exactly. I just want.
And did you hear when they interviewed one of the representatives of the state, and he was like, "Did you know that this individual has been living in Newark all the time?" She said, "Yeah, but those are rumors."
Are you talking about the what was it, the governor or something, or the mayor?
We don't listen to rumors. That's just why folks.
Cory Booker said that too, and I'm gonna tell you.
No, Cory Booker was like, he said, "Did you know?" He's like, "No, I wasn't aware of that."
But wait, I'm telling you.
You think he was aware of it, huh?
I think you cannot, and I'm just gonna be honest, whether I'm right or not. I'm just gonna tell you what I feel. You cannot be in politics
and not know who's around.
As heavy as Cory Booker and that lady was during that time specifically. And rise to those levels and not have compromised on something. You black, you coming up in the 60s, during a time where there is so many black messiahs that were killed along with the president of the United States. And you tell me...
But isn't Cory Booker really my age?
It doesn't matter that he's your age.
He's in his 30s, right?
Yeah. But I'm saying... what I'm saying is we talking two different people, right? We talking about the lady...
Oh, yeah. You're right. Yes, her.
She's a black woman.
Yes.
And then you're talking about Cory Booker.
Right.
Who's been in politics for a little while. Of course, he's a young guy. But it doesn't matter. The system is the system.
You're right.
You know something. And what did the man ask Cory? He said, "Did you know him?" He said, "I know him very well."
So honestly,
he's a good man.
He's 50 years old, so he should know this stuff.
Yes, he's only 10 years older than me.
Yes.
I mean, younger than me.
He said, yes, he's a good man. He does a lot for the community.
And see, they tried to play it off to say, well, I only knew him after all this was over. I only know him when he started the program for the children and when he started the...
his penitence, basically.
Yeah, his penitence. I do understand forgiveness. Honestly, I do.
Yes.
And I do understand that. But I also understand that to be forgiven, you need to repent and ask for forgiveness. That man allowed two people to go to jail for over 20 years, ruined their entire life.
And they didn't even do it.
Never came forward and said, because repentance don't mean to say I'm sorry. It means to turn around. It's metanoia. It means to turn around and correct your action.
Go ahead, teach it.
Don't make, I know about that. Yeah.
So.
Make me get churchy up in here.
But what's funny also is two of the individuals weren't even there that day.
They were one guy had his leg damaged. It was even crippling when the police came and got him. Did you see? He was crippling. The doctor told him that this guy had just had his foot, something operating on or something on his foot. Oh, that was the guy that they shot.
Yeah, in the leg.
In the leg. But the other guy that was limping away when they picked him up, he had something wrong with his foot that night and had to stay home. The doctor said there's no way he could get up and go anywhere that night.
Not let alone run.
Oh, see, it's just starting to come back to me. I'm getting madder as it's coming. Remember, God darn it. This is the other side of it. The whole time all this stuff is going on, the FBI and the police department,
yes.
Oh, they working together to get Malcolm, working together against Elijah, working together against all these black messiahs coming up. But as soon as somebody got caught, they kept the files from the police department.
They redacted,
wouldn't even give the police department the files. The FBI had more evidence than the police department. They knew them two guys were innocent.
And do you remember?
And they knew who killed them. They had it in the... That's why I say you can't be in politics, James, and not know what's going on.
And then what got me after that, when you're talking about the FBI and people, then you fast forward to Newark, he's interviewing all these people on the street. And one of the guys, he asked one of the guys, he said, yeah, you know who really killed Malcolm? He's like, yeah, we don't talk about it.
Right. And you can tell he was getting scared.
Yeah,
he's like, we just not going to talk about it. I don't talk about it. You see him stuttering, right?
He's like, but we want to talk about who really killed him. He's like, see, you just let things go. Because he said, when you kick something in the street, you offend the
right, when you kick mud in the street, you just let it you stain your shoes.
Right. So basically he was saying people in the community knew who really killed Malcolm.
Right.
However, they were so fearful, they don't talk about it. And he
was from Mosque 25 in Newark, New Jersey. Lived across the street from the mosque.
And did you?
They had his name. The killer.
Yeah. He was protected.
He was protected till the day he died. Now let me say this. I'm gonna jump. When the host, the guy that was doing all the investigation and stuff, he said, I'm not going to be satisfied until I can sit down and look him in his eye.
The day of the
day he was going to go and see him.
The day
he got
of
a call.
the interview.
Go ahead.
The day of the interview that he was getting ready to go interview face to face with the individual that he has done his research and has loosely confirmed, but has evidence. But we say loosely because he just hasn't been able to. He loosely confirmed who the individual was.
And people that he interviewed confessed. Yeah, we know.
Confessed. We know this is the guy.
The day
he was getting ready to go interview this guy, he was nervous, he was excited. He gets a phone call that day to say, this person has died.
Didn't say how. Because, and it's funny, because I had just texted my nephew, and I said, I cannot believe that this guy is still alive today.
You was like, they need to lock him up because he's getting older.
I said they need to. No, I said this guy needs to get to him and interview him before he died of natural causes.
And I just LOL.
Yeah, because you knew he was already gone. And then right after I texted that to him, and the reason I said that was, if you know who did it, everybody agrees that there is speculation around this guy.
Yes.
Innocent until proven guilty.
Yes.
But when you watch this documentary from episode 1 to episode 9, I think, you can follow the evidence for yourself. And if I was a juror in court, I would have said guilty with no problem. And once I said guilty, I would immediately, as the juror for the other two guys, I would want to go back and tell the judge.
They have the video of, oh my gosh.
Oh, when he walked past.
When he walked past, they had, in the video of Malcolm X getting shot, the man literally walks past with the barrel of the shotgun in his jacket and closes the jacket in the camera.
But before that, James, he actually jumped on the guy the police was arresting. and pretend like he was a part of the angry crowd.
I didn't see that part. And then the guy, they slow up. They said, and you see him with the barrel of the shotgun, and he closes his jacket and walks off
into the sunset. Matter of fact, he walked across the street, probably sat on his favorite chair and had a beer. Because they said it did not matter that the other guys had a little small 45 caliber and another small handgun. It was the shots from the shotgun. It was the pellets.
They said that he probably would have survived had not the sawed-off shotgun. I got something.
Right. No. Exactly. Because the pellets, once the bullet went in, they sprayed inside his body. You can see his chest. It's got small little, look like BB holes all over his chest, which is where when the bullet hit it, it exploded. That was the point of that's the point of a sawed-off shotgun. Is the bullet is about that big and about that long.
It's a bigger impact.
And it has pellets in it. So when you shoot it off, the power from the shotgun.
This is why they saw it off, because they get more power.
Exactly. And the bullets were everywhere. And they still had, years later, the podium with the bullets in the basement of the building. Not
to mention, they said the day Malcolm X got shot.
Okay, yeah.
They cleaned up the auditorium for a party, a dance rehearsal that they had 3 hours later.
Exactly.
So people walked in not knowing, with bullet holes still in the wall.
Exactly.
Blood still on the cleaned up, but it's on the floor. Staying with the floor.
Yeah.
A whole crime scene.
Yeah. How do you do that?
Bullets in the wall. The podium was just moved downstairs, and it was kept downstairs for
years.
It's in the museum now, though, right?
I don't know where it is, but it's funny because they showed when the police were called. They showed the police just nonchalantly getting out their cars. Already knew he was gone because we found out they had an informant. Sitting on the front row was one of the main lieutenants of Malcolm X. Remember the guy?
And
he was facing the audience. He saw everybody that was there. Saw the killers and everything. Went and told the FBI. And then they asked him, well, and he's the same guy that gave him mouth-to-mouth resuscitation.
And he said, why did you give him mouth-to-mouth?
He didn't give him mouth-to-mouth resuscitation.
You don't think so?
Listen.
Remember the white guy said, why did you give him mouth-to-mouth? We want to let this nigga die.
Exactly. But answer me this. I got to pull this up. Because I want to show y'all tell me if y'all think this is mouth-to-mouth. Or.
I'm telling you, I got to watch this series.
I gotta go to.
I want Gaga to do an episode because she's talking now, but let her do an episode by episode. You will get the depth. She will go in. She has enough content to go in for each episode.
I was about to cuss. I was about to say that.
Gaga will give you each episode.
Let me see where is it? There's the guy.
I was part of this.
Listen, look, y'all. Look at this guy. Can y'all see him?
Just put it up on the side. Just put it on.
I am, but I want them to see in case I don't feel like doing all that. Listen, this guy's name is Gene Roberts. He's the bodyguard. He was the bodyguard for Malcolm X.
And an informant.
He was the guy. He was actually a police officer. He was the one that ran up on the stage and supposedly gave Malcolm X mouth-to-mouth. But I'm going to show y'all. You tell me if this is giving somebody. You don't hold nobody's mouth like this when you're giving a mouth-to-mouth. Let me see. They got a picture of him. There you go. Come on. Play. Look at his hand. Look at his hand. He's holding his mouth closed. Did you see that? Listen, y'all. Don't. Listen, look at that. Look at his hand, how he's holding his chin up. When you giving somebody mouth to mouth, you hold the mouth open. This part is being held down to close the mouth. This guy has his hand clamped on his chin like that.
So he doesn't breathe.
Don't start me. Because see, I'm an investigator watching this. I'm not just watching this. Just me watching.
I got something stirred up.
You done got me stirred up. this Negro is not open and holding his mouth open.
It's almost showing on me. It's almost like he's doing this.
When you give him mouth to mouth, you do this. Okay, you don't do this.
So literally, he has
his chin hand and his beard is right here. Okay, what is he pulling it down like that? No. Look how his hand is right at his throat.
Now, I'm gonna play devil's advocate because I like to be fair. Look how puffy his cheeks are.
I have no doubt.
Okay.
He was poking his cheeks out. I swear to you, I have no doubt.
He was going for the aesthetics of it.
But you can hold somebody's mouth closed and still blow.
Okay.
And what's so funny, he got up and said, I can't do it no more. I'm dizzy. I'm dizzy. That's because you're holding your breath when you were supposed to have been letting it go inside of his mouth. Try to hold your breath and see how dizzy you get. No. God dog it. Y'all ain't gonna tell me I got a lot out of this visual right here. He jumped up and told Malcolm X's wife he cannot give him mouth to mouth anymore because he was getting dizzy.
But not only that, when you give him mouth to mouth, you don't, when you're doing CPR with somebody, you just don't push air in their system.
So listen, y'all.
I was saying you was going in there going crazy.
Yes. Now, we was texting back and forth this morning about, what we were going to do today. We was talking about the thing, and I was like, let me watch this because I had some idea about Malcolm X.
Me too.
From the movie.
Yeah, from the movie.
And
I'm gonna tell you what.
historical
Listen,
things.
I'm gonna bring y'all full circle.
Okay.
It's amazing. She probably doesn't remember this. It's amazing that we're sitting here talking about this today. When the movie came out in 1991. With
Denzel?
You called my mom and you said, Isabel, I seen this movie Malcolm X. I gotta take James. He needs to see this.
Did I?
You came and you took me to see Malcolm X. You probably don't even remember.
What?
Yeah.
Wow.
She took me to see the Malcolm X movie because you had saw it already.
Wow.
And then you said, James needs to see this movie.
Wow.
And you took me to go see Malcolm X when it came out in the movie theater.
Was you young?
I was young. In 91, I was only 9 years old.
And I didn't take lesson in Jeremy?
I don't remember. I think I remember Jeremy, not Leslie.
Okay.
I think I remember Jeremy, not Leslie. But you had already seen it.
But when did that movie come out? Because I was in the service in 91.
No.
I went in the end of 91.
Right. So let's see when it came out. Let's see. Malcolm X movie.
Wow. That is amazing. I have done a lot in my day, y'all. Wow.
No, it came out in 92.
Okay. I was in the military. I didn't get out till 93. So we must have, but I came home.
It came out November 18th, 1992.
No, I wasn't here. I was in Fort Eustis in November.
So maybe it was like one of the dollar movies.
But it might not have been because I still might have done it because I was coming here every weekend.
Yeah,
I was coming here on the weekend.
Because you was going to Missouri, right?
I was in Missouri and then I got transferred here.
Right.
To Fort Eustis, Virginia.
Okay. So it came out in 92 and she took me to go see the movie.
Wow.
But so
and here we are today. You telling me,
yeah.
But you now telling me to watch who can watch.
Yeah, absolutely. So, but
wow.
I'm telling y'all, this movie is.
It's a series.
Not a movie. It's a documentary.
Yeah, they call it it's a but it says season 1 as if there's going to be another season.
Maybe it's a different season of another character, probably.
But it said who killed Malcolm X. It's still going to be about Malcolm X. Because it says season 1, episode 1 through 9. But I don't think they done.
No, because there's somebody out there.
Wait a minute.
There's somebody out there.
I don't think it's done. Because that guy, and I'm thinking I should look this up before he do it. The guy that authored this show, remember he asked the guy, he said, there is a group called, of judges called the Second Chance or Forgiveness or something. Okay. And he said, I'm going to send your paper over there because they work on getting people exonerated.
Yes.
That was the end of episode 9.
Okay.
That's where it went off at. And it told us that he had sent there and filed the paperwork to have the group of judges relook over those cases.
Okay.
And he didn't say in the end. You know how they say, and so this is where so-and-so is
Well, this
today.
is why I agreed that it's not over.
It's
because
not.
if you remember at the end, the singer that they was talking about.
Singer? What singer?
Oh, well, no, maybe that was a separate. So, wait, is that on it?
The singer?
Wait. I'm trying to think if he was on, if who I'm talking about is on.
I know Elijah Muhammad.
No. So there is. So when I watched this, I watched other documentaries about it. And the one that I told you about, and you sent me a text. You was like, "Oh yeah, he's been talking about this for a while." And then I sent you the clip this morning.
Who was it? Tell me in my ear. Oh!
So
Louis Farrakhan.
you had a nation looking for us.
Listen, I don't want nobody to think that I know something I don't know. I want y'all to know exactly what I know.
Really,
the only thing I know
is what the TV says.
Is what every documentary and every book and everything that you can look up on Google says that Malcolm X was killed by Louis Farrakhan had something to do with his death.
You didn't see the documentary?
But the reason they said that is because there was so much evidence from Minister Farrakhan's own mouth where he talked about Elijah got what he deserved and he should have done it and blah blah blah. So you look at it.
Well, there's documentaries that he planned to escape. You didn't see that?
Who planned to escape?
Oh my goodness!
Who planned to escape? Farrakhan?
Yes. You didn't see that?
Wait a minute. Why was he planning to escape if he didn't do nothing?
He planned the escape the day he got shot. You didn't see that? Oh, I'm gonna show it to you. I declare. I showed you the clip.
Wait a minute. You trying to say he helped William Bradley get away?
Yes.
Are you Farrakhan?
You didn't see. I thought I sent you the clip. Oh.
Wait. That wasn't in the documentary I watched, right?
That's what I'm saying. No.
Okay,
I thought it was.
okay.
But the thing is, when you watch, like they teach
This is a mess, y'all. It's a mess.
like they teach you when you read the Bible. When you read the Bible, you just don't read the Bible. You have to go deeper. They have commentaries. They
Right.
You know, they have other books. They have canons that were not. They have other books that were not canonized.
Exactly.
Canonized. So you have other books out there that talks about the creation. That talks about other items of history.
It adds and fulfills a lot of things and questions that you will be asking when you read the Bible. You can find answers
but
to
you
those
just
in
go
other books.
when we're in school and we are doing a paper. You don't just research one book and then write a 20-page paper. You have to research other books. You have to go through other sources. You have to, when you do your searching, when you're doing your database, you pull up multiple sources. That's why you have to cite them at the end.
Exactly.
Citing just one book don't give you enough knowledge.
And let me tell you something. When I was in college, and I'm talking about at the higher level, master's degree level, you could not cite information that was irrelevant. You had to stay within 10 years of your cited material. Then on top of that, you had to cite at least 10 or more articles. They could not even be written by the same authors. Now, let me say this to y'all.
Say it.
I got some stuff that when we come on here, it's going to blow your mind.
All the way.
It's going to blow your mind so bad that I'm scared to even talk about it. But I tell you what, if y'all want to hear this topic that I got, and I'm new to this. I have been infused in this topic since last week. It's been about a week. I am completely floored. My mind is blown. I've even had moments where I felt like my mind was gone. I mentioned that to you. I wanted to talk to you. It's one of those topics I saw that you saw.
About fossils?
Mud fossils, not just fossils.
Mud fossils. Let's talk about it.
Mud fossils. Y'all need to go look up mud fossils. Go. Let me tell you where to go to. Go to this YouTube channel called Mud Fossils University. Roger Spurs is the teacher of that thing. This man is so smart, so intelligent that he blows my mind. Literally. The things I just want to say it, but my godson is not even familiar with it. So I can't even talk about it because I don't want to talk about it without you.
This is the mud fossil thing.
Yes, because if I show you one, oh, you looking it up?
No, I'm not.
Even if I show you one thing, if I just show you one thing from this topic, it will blow your mind. But let's go back to
We're gonna have to do. I want us to do as, and I'm gonna purposely set it up like this. We're gonna do a 10-second pause. Okay. I need to do so you can have space to cut it in.
Okay.
We're gonna do a reaction video as I'm playing. Can you play YouTube videos on?
Yeah.
Okay. We're gonna play. She's gonna cut into a YouTube video, but however, I want her to see. It's about 5 minutes. I want her to see the reaction of this Louis Farrakhan clip. Let's put it on there.
Let me see it on your phone. Is it long?
No, it's 5 minutes. But
you're gonna send it to me?
I'm gonna send it because we can watch it bigger over there.
Okay. You can't get my face right now, cause. Okay, go ahead, send it to me.
I just sent it in text.
Oh, you sent. Okay. Y'all listen.
Personally ordered the tax upon you? Oh, yes.
Ordered the tax upon you?
Oh yes, this brother was a captain. He was one of the karate experts who taught karate on the entire East Coast, Eastern region. And he was in the inner circle. And he pointed out that in October, he didn't cease being a captain, but his influence or authority was placed beneath that of Clarence, the captain who's in Boston. Clarence was put over to Joseph, and shortly after that, as Leon Amir testified, Clarence, the captain from Boston, and John, the captain from Springfield, Massachusetts, came to New York to carry out the so-called assassination. And they came to Leon looking for a silencer for their gun. Well, see, I understand all of it, but they parked half a block from my house here in the home of Alvin, who was also one of the looking for a chance when they could, make their move. But thanks to Allah, they didn't get a chance.
Al Van X was a gifted
pianist who played on the popular hit song, White Man's Heaven is a Black Man's Heaven, sung by Louis X, who also played violin, Al Van X on piano, C. Sybil on guitar, M. Asaro on bongo, W. Brewster on bongo and conga, and K. Husband on bass. The extended play two-sided 45 RPM record was released in 1960 and was beautifully performed by all the artists. It is now a collector's item. Al Van X was the brother of Louis X, now known as Louis Farrakhan.
That's Louis Farrakhan singing? That's Louis Farrakhan?
And equality, we walk Silken Road, with the wealthiest and the wisest people I know. Now we are the poorest.
Wait, who was that?
Yes.
That was Malcolm X? Louis Farrakhan? Stop it!
Keep going. That's why they said.
Stop it!
Listen, keep watching.
Jesus. Okay, wait. That's not where he got shot.
No. That's why you gotta keep watching it.
So they're just showing you the relationship right now.
There you go.
Okay, I was gonna say they lying.
My brothers and sisters, this behind me is the home of Malcolm X. Minister Louis Farrakhan's brother Alvin Farrakhan stayed right there. Turn that camera around. when you're looking at Danny's grocery store, right above, he stayed in apartment 2B. That's Alvin's Farrakhan. Again, the proximity. Just for your information.
As many of you know, last Sunday morning about 3 o'clock, somebody threw some bombs inside my house. Normally, I wouldn't get excited over a few bombs. But the ones who threw these not only aimed them in rooms where they're...
I'm going to play this right on air, and I'm just going to turn the sound off right there while we playing this so they can just listen to it.
One daughter 6, one daughter 4, and one daughter 2. And since I am quite certain that those who threw the bomb knew my house well enough to know where everyone was sleeping.
Because who stayed across the street?
I can't quite bring my
Yes.
Keep watching.
to the point where it can in any way be merciful or from now on compromising toward anyone who can be that close. Especially when I heard on the news today that Joseph, a brother that I found in the garbage can in Detroit in 1952, that's where I found him, made the statement that I had bombed my own house. Now you see, this doesn't surprise me because I know that since many of us left the Muslim movement, its intelligence and its morals have gone bankrupt. Both its intelligence and its morals have gone bankrupt. And now they're using the same tactic that's used by the Ku Klux Klan. When the Klan bombs your church, they say you did it. When they bomb the synagogue, they say the Jews bombed their own synagogue.
Mm-hmm.
This is the Klan tactic. And tonight, I'll tell you why the black Muslim movement is now adopting the same tactics against black people as has been up to now the exclusive method of the Ku Klux Klan. I want to point out, too, that I'm not talking about Muslims just to make white people happy, because I don't believe in letting anyone use me against somebody else. I'm telling you these things because it has reached a point where I feel that black people in this country need to know what's going on. And I'm talking about an organization which I had a hand in building, which I had a hand in organizing. I know its characteristics. I know its potential. I know its behavior patterns. I know what it can do and what it cannot do. And one of the things it can do is bomb your house and try and kill your baby.
Y'all, I'm speechless. I am speechless.
So there's another one.
The reason I'm speechless, let me tell you the reason I'm speechless.
You go ahead and explain why you're speechless.
I'm speechless because I knew, let me tell you something, visuals are very important. Because I've heard so much about this war between the fractions, because now we're talking about 3 different nations of Islam.
No, he's still look, he's still a nation of Islam. He's still a leader.
Yes, but the nation of Islam is Farrakhan's.
Yes.
That is not Elijah Muhammad's. It's not called the Nation of Islam.
Which was it called?
And Malcolm X was not even in the Nation of Islam when he left. He wasn't in Islam, period. Remember? He said, I'm a Muslim, but I am no longer in the nation. In the nation. Farrakhan took over the Nation of Islam. Look at me sounding like a Muslim. Islam. You hear me drag it? My understanding was that, right, okay. But my understanding was that's called Nation of Islam, not the Nation, right?
The Nation.
Leader of the Nation of Islam. But there is a, if you look it up, it's somewhere in there where what Farrakhan is doing is different than what the Nation of Islam is doing, because they did not accept him as the
leader.
Yes, they did not accept him as the leader when Elijah Muhammad died.
Okay.
He was not even appointed the leader.
Okay.
Farrakhan, people are saying that Farrakhan, because there's a fraction.
They wanted Elijah Muhammad Jr.
I don't know if they wanted any of the kids, because
Okay.
them kids was, from my understanding, the kids just wasn't too kosher.
They were just PK kids.
Right. Y'all just like us, Elijah kids. You know how it is. You grow up in the house, your parents, they great leaders.
They make you want to do what you want.
Right, and they were saying in the documentary that they weren't even followers of their father like that.
Okay.
They didn't see him, they just saw him as their dad, and they saw what he was doing as a business and something that took care of them as a family that they could live off of. But you never saw them speaking until the night Malcolm X was killed. Then my understanding was either the night before or sometime during that week, Elijah Muhammad's son went and spoke at Lodge 25.
Okay.
And in New Jersey. And when he spoke, he gave this message that he said, why is Malcolm X still allowed to walk the streets? Why is he, remember? Because they was talking about seeds. He was saying they throwing seeds. They would never directly tell you to go out and take someone's life. They'll directly say, we don't agree with that and that we don't espouse to that. But when they in these meetings, they throw out these seeds indirectly. Why is he still alive? In the Nation of Islam paper, The Final Call.
Yes.
Did you see the cartoon where they had Malcolm's head off,
bouncing,
and then his head bounced and bounced again, and then when it bounced, it turned upside down and had horns. And then it bounced again, and the horns were bigger. And then it bounced. It was actually lower. So there were seeds that were being thrown out, even in the Final Call paper.
Well, what they should do with a traitor.
And what should happen with a traitor. So all of this is relevant stuff. So this guy that did this documentary, he was a follower of Malcolm X, right?
No, he said he was just curious.
No, he's a Muslim.
No, if you look at the
he's a Muslim.
Yeah, but he said in the beginning, but he said he started to.
He said they were very good friends. And he was wondering why, he was wondering why nobody, was looking into this stuff.
Okay.
And, see, this is what makes me so mad when we do these like quick videos, which I love.
But they turn it to long videos? They
don't turn it to long video. It's so much information that you don't set the information aside and have it readily available. Because you're trying to come off the cuff and be real, you know? You're not trying to act like you a specialist when they come after you.
Right. For them to be like, you don't know what you're talking about.
No, for them to say, we need to get rid of them because they seem to know what they talk about. I'm not trying to be that person.
We're not trying to be on your radar. We just having a conversation.
Here we go. Let me see. It had to be. His name was Abdur Rahman Muhammad. He's an activist, but he said his relationship with Malcolm or with the Nation or something, he had some type of, either it was indirectly or it was because they were both in the Nation. And he had got to know Malcolm or something like that, or he knew some information, but his passion was just too strong to solve this for him not to have had a relationship with Malcolm. And you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. And what kind of really makes me feel uneasy about this whole thing is if the documentary that we watched or that I've watched, and it talks about how Louis Farrakhan had something to do with the death of Malcolm.
Dr. King too.
Alright, so let's pause on that one.
No. Yeah.
Let's pause on that one. So it had something to do with the death of Malcolm X. And apparently they said that he helped with the escape plan of the whole
William Bradley.
No, yes, but the whole how to get in when he had how to get into the ballroom.
And how to get out.
And how to get out. Remember, they apparently they cased it the night before. Apparently he had what they say he had a hand in how to get them in, how to get them out.
Oh my God, James.
So
remember they said they had no police. They had 2 cops. And where were those cops? In the back steps that go out the back door. They said they only had 2 police officers in there the entire night. And they were like beat cops, but they were in the back of the steps. They showed the steps. They showed the steps going up, and I don't know if it was going out the back of the building, but they showed you where those 2 cops were that night. Throughout nowhere else, there was no cops at the door to check for guns. There wasn't even his bodyguard. Look at it. See? Siri, stop listening to me. Look at her. Look, y'all, Siri going nuts. No, good where she's supposed to be listening to me.
And wrote everything down.
Everything I said. Tried to find words to put in my mouth. I didn't even say. Y'all should have saw her search. But they said that there was 2 cops that were in the back. It's funny, none of his bodyguards had any kind of security.
Any weapons.
They didn't have somebody had a weapon because the boy got shot.
Yes, and the guy said that. He said, I think in that documentary, because one of the bodyguards was still living, then he said, I shot him in the leg.
That's right, exactly. So, and the informant, the guy that was faking the mouth to mouth.
He's not in the documentary, is he?
Yeah, he in here. That's where I just showed it to you from.
No, you showed me a picture of him.
He's in the documentary talking.
Oh, that was him talking.
Yes, he had the nice little hand on his shirt. He was in the documentary in the I think in the last 2 episodes.
So he trying to make so you think the guy that was talking? You saying the guy that was talking was the guy that was giving him mouth to mouth?
Yes.
But you're saying that he really wasn't giving him mouth to mouth. He was
holding his mouth, and on top of that, when the guy tried to get away, he hit him over the head with a chair. And he said the guy got up and ran away. Okay, you Malcolm X bodyguard. You hit